Okay, in this video we'll go over just the basics of setting up UITableView in our app. So I'm just going to create a basic app using UIKit.
Wait, it's easy first? Connor? It's easy correct?
Okay, so the first thing is, let's go to our storyboard and add our UITableView. So I'll drag this on. I'm just going to set constraints so that it fills up the entire screen. As basic as we get there. And next thing is, inside of the table view, I'm going to add a table view cell. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this cell that we can reuse for every cell in the table. And we can customize the cell. The cell has something called a reuse identifier, and so whatever we name this, we're gonna load this table cell inside of our code, inside of the view controller code, using this reuse identifier. I'll just call it cell for now. You want to make that something more specific though, like if you're gonna have a table listing off different types of trees, you might call it a tree cell, or different sports, you might call it a sports cell. Give it a name that makes sense so that if you have lots of different types of cells in your app, you won't get confused there. Okay, next thing in our view controller, we want to add a table view outlet. So this will be, I'll type UITableView and then we'll connect this using our storyboard. And so the key is inside of our view controllers, we need to make something a data source. Where's the data coming from for our table view, and a delegate, which handles all the different types of events, right? You guys are familiar with that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it to self, which refers back to the view controller. And then we're going to do the same thing for delegate. Now it's going to give us an error because it's saying this view controller. It's going to say this view controller is not a UI table view data source, and it's not a UI table view delegate. It doesn't know how to handle that. So we're going to have to add those in. And now it's going to give us an error saying, well, wait a second, if it's a delegate, there are some different types of functions that you need to implement, or some types of methods that you need to implement inside of your view controller class. And it's going to give us the option to create stubs for those, which is nice. So these are the two, I'm going to move it down below view did load. These are the two types of methods that we need to implement. I'm going to add one additional one here. So we've got self for row at. So for each row in our table, we're going to return a cell. And what we're going to do is we're going to load up that, using that reuse identifier, we're going to load up that cell that we created inside of the table. Then number of rows in section is, our table is divided into sections, so there's a section header, and then rows, a number of rows under that, and number of rows in section is going to return a number of rows based on the number of the section. I'm going to add one other one, which is number of sections. Oh, I added UI tab bar delegate instead, sorry. Okay, so we need to now go back to our storyboard and we need to specify
Yeah.
that
Numbers are so much better.
UI. We need to connect to that
I'm gonna look up a cluster.
IB outlet that we set up for the table view. So now we're connected. We get the table view set up to the GUI table view there in the storyboard. Okay, so now let's say number of rows in section. Let's just add 3 rows per section
It doesn't really
and
matter.
3
Well, not
sections.
because it's a cluster.
And cell for row at, then we need to write a little bit of code. So we're gonna first we're gonna declare a cell which is equal to, and we're gonna grab that cell that we added in storyboard, and I think we called it cell in the end. Remember that reuse identifier is really important. And I'm just gonna take this index path, and I'm gonna display the value of that index path. What doesn't it like here? So we've got a section, and then we've also got an item, which is the row inside of this section. So basically all we're doing is we're creating a cell, and we're loading up kind of a template for it using that reuse identifier, that cell that we added in storyboard. And we can use that cell in storyboard to really customize what's displayed inside the cell. So if you have multiple values, multiple rows even inside the cell, we can use that. And then just a basic kind of out of the box property is going to be cell label. So we've got so text label, not cell label, and it has the cell label has a property called text, and we'll set it at equal to our variable that we just created, and then we have to return the cell. So basically what we're doing is we're creating a string variable, which is going to display the section number and the item number, and then we're going to set the cell's text label, the .text property, to the text that the string variable that we created, and then we're going to return the cell, and that's going to happen in 3 sections and then 3 rows inside each of the sections. And let's see what it looks like. So you can see there's cell at section 0, row 0, and there's 3 rows for section 0, then section 1, and section 2. So that's it. That's the basics of just setting up the table view in our storyboard, setting up a prototype cell inside of the table view, giving it a reuse identifier, and then having our view controller act as table view data source and delegate.
I don't know if it's a cluster or not.
And just some basic methods associated with it. One is for number of rows in section. Another one is returning a cell for each row, and then a final one, which is the number of sections.
What map is it on?
So that's it. Thanks.